Hey everyone, welcome back to Everything with Alina. I first want to start off by saying happy 4th of July. What's a better way to celebrate Independence Day and the 4th of July than talking about the most American thing ever, baseball? On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the Anaheim Angels and the problems that won't make them get to playoffs, even though we really want them to, like as fans. What just makes the overall team do poor or just not be as good as the Yankees or the Dodgers, something like that. So, their poor win loss record contributes a lot into this. This is basically out of the games that they play, which in total is 162. How many have they won? How many have they lost? If it's below 500, it's kind of like, you're kind of a bad team. But especially when it gets to All-Star break, you want to try to have the best one. The All-Star break is halfway through the season. And if you're really far behind, let's say the Colorado Rockies, who I think still have not even won 20 games out of that 162, it's hard to come back after the All-Star break because you have a whole week of no baseball, basically, unless you're going to the home run derby or to the All-Star game. You have that little break, so you might get cold as a team. And that's why when some teams are doing good, as a fan, you like hope, oh, I hope if they're on like a winning streak, you want them to have games every single day because they're already in that kind of mentality of winning and doing good. But then again, that could lead to the downfall if they have games every single day. And then if they're just doing poor or maybe they just need a break, that's kind of where the All-Star break it puts into place. It gives them a break. It signifies halfway through the season and all the teams get to come together and play a game of baseball. I'll go more into the All-Star break and breaking that down in a different episode. But moving on to weak roster. If they don't have key players, if they have lack of talent in key players, or they have poor starting pitchers, and pitchers are also, I'm going to get into it, such an important part of the game. Injuries, if everybody on the team is hurt, if they're constantly bringing up rookies from the AAA, or they constantly have to go to the minors to try to bring someone up, that can also suck. If they have this star player, like when Ohtani was hurt back in those seasons ago when he was with the Angels, and then Ohtani got hurt, so he couldn't pitch and he couldn't hit. The Angels were already a bad team, but this just really made it worse. And the management as well. If the coaches and the managers and everybody as a team, if they're just making poor decisions, that could lead to losing games and losing fans and this whole thing. So it's also the managers. An example of this is with the Baltimore Orioles. They fired the manager, Brandon Hyde. They were like, we don't want you. You're not doing good. You're done. We're letting you go. And then with the Angels, this had happened back in 2023 with Phil Nevin. They were like, we don't want you. You're not doing good, so you're gone. If the defensive struggles, if the team just aren't doing good, if they're poor fielding, if they keep on dropping balls or having errors, or, oh, this is going to be an easy catch to get a important out, so then you can't score any more runs, and they fumble it. They full on drop the ball, and it's no outs, or it's one out, and bases loaded. This would be such an important out or whatever, and they're about to tie the game with the grand slam, and then they drop the ball. It's kind of like, eh. And then also about the poor defensive skills, I have an example of this. I have the TV on and I was watching the Yankees and the Toronto game because it's live right now, and the game was tied. It's going to probably go into extra innings or whatever, and then a grand slam. If the pitchers also can't pitch, next is the offensive side. If they're doing bad, if when they're up to bat, they're striking out every day, they're popping out, they're flying out. If they just are doing that, then you're never going to get runs. If they have a low on base percentage, either by hit by pitch, walk, single, homer, any of that, you're not going to score runs because you can't hit the ball. And then lastly is the fan engagement. If they don't really have a good fan base, then they won't get that money in. Like an example of this, and like not hating like the team, but with the A's. The Oakland Athletics, now just the A's. Back when they were in Oakland, they didn't have a good fan base really. They didn't really have a bunch of fans. So if the fans aren't contributing their money to buy tickets or to buy merchandise or to buy jerseys or to buy any of this, no money is going to the team. So then they don't get any money from it. They're not getting anything. So then they're just like losing more and more money. And it's mainly happens to the teams that are bad. Nobody wants to go see those games because they're never going to win. And one example I remember last season was with the Oakland Athletics. Usually at every game that they would be, no fans, nothing whatsoever, like tons of seat open, except for when the Dodgers were in town. When the Dodgers were in town, sold out every single day. And that's not because the A's were good, not because people wanted to see the A's, but because people wanted to see the Dodgers. And the only good thing that really came out of that, besides all of the Dodgers fans being happy because they swept the A's most likely, but the A's got money from it. That's my little rant on that. Anyways, let's just focus on the Anaheim Angels. I did some research and I looked at all the analytics. And they currently, from when I filmed this, they have a 40-40 record, which means they're exactly 500, which is good. They've won 40 games, they lost 40 games. They're in third place right now, and they're doing pretty okay. But then other teams, like I know the Rockies, instead of being at 500, they're at 218. So you're not going to come back to the playoffs. And especially now with the All-Star break, that's how your first half of the season went. Let's just times that by 2 because that's how the next season's going to be. So if there's 162 games in season, split that in half at the rate of the Angels, that's what they're going to have. And they need to start winning more games. Just even right now, like they're on a good streak right now with winning some games. You just need to win those games so then when you go to the All-Star break, you don't really forget what you learned. And hopefully some teams during the All-Star break, they like have a revelation and then baseball starts up again after the break and they're on fire. Hopefully that happens. It might. And in the division that the Angels are in, it's the American League West. And they are currently in third place, like I had mentioned, trailing behind the Seattle Mariners. Right now, it's the Houston Astros, Seattle Mariners, Anaheim Angels, Texas Rangers, and A's, the Oakland Athletics. In the past 7 games when I was filming this, their batting average was 234. A good batting average for a player or for a team, around 250. A great one is in the 300s. This was collectively as a team. They averaged a 234. While the Angels are still capable of winning a good amount of games, their pitching is what's really hurting them right now. All 5 of their starting pitchers have a combined total of an ERA of 4.54 runs. An ERA is the earned runs average. Here's an example. Let's go back to the Dodgers. Ohtani, he pitches. The guy who's batting, let's just say Mike Trout. Mike Trout hits it, and it's a home run. In that game already, Ohtani has an ERA of 1 because that's how many runs he let by. So in the past 7 games, they have a total combined of 4 runs, which usually an average baseball game is like 4-2, 5-3. It's very low. So that you might think, oh, that's not bad. But what's really affecting this is their current best pitcher is Kikuchi, and he has an ERA of 1 in the past 7 games. And then there's other pitchers who gave up 14 runs in the past. The pitching is really important because you don't want a pitcher that gives up 25 runs every single game. But then if your pitching is doing really good, you also need good batters. You need a good batting average and good players who can actually hit the ball and make contact. And then another thing is, we don't want like the players to just want to get a home run every single time, and it's either a home run or nothing. And there's players like that. Like, I would consider Ohtani that type of person, and I would consider Trout that type of person. That's good and all when they come in clutch, like the Freddie Freeman Grand Slam back in the World Series. That's okay. Like, that he's coming in clutch. But when it's these players who think that they have to be the hero every single time and get a home run, you don't. You actually just want him to make contact with the ball, because then once they make contact, then he gets a single. Okay, who's next? Taylor Ward? Oh, he gets another single? Okay, now there's 2 people on base. Who's next? Oh, Trout's up next? Okay, he strikes out. But that's fine, because then O'Hoppy's next. He gets another single. Bases loaded, 1 out. Who's next? Oh, Adele? He's doing amazing. He was doing amazing in June. He hits a grand slam. I'm very passionate about this, if you couldn't tell, and like, I'm really sorry, but I just really needed to get that off my mind. Another factor that makes an MLB team bad is their injuries, like I had mentioned. And currently on the injured list, we have Moncada, Soler, Stephenson, Taylor, Joyce, and Rendon. So there's injuries. Some good players are being hurt and they're borderline missing the whole season. About the whole like money situation and fan engagement, they have a fan base, and their stadiums are really empty unless it's a big team that comes into town, like the Red Sox or the Dodgers or the Yankees or anybody like that. And then also the management with the Angels is so different right now because Ron Washington had to leave being the manager because of a health scare. So now we have this new guy, Montgomery, and it's too soon to know if he's a good coach or not. If he is, then that's going to really affect their season overall. The Angels right now, in the way that they're approaching the All-Star break, is kind of scary, just because they're not good enough to make it into the wild card or make it into the playoffs right now, but they don't suck. They're not these other teams that do absolutely terrible, but they're not amazing like the Dodgers or the Yankees. And the reason why this is scary is there's a chance that they could make it into the playoffs if they start, changing their mindset and really just work hard into going into the All-Star break and then just kicking butt after the All-Star break. There's a chance that they can make it into the wild card. So that's kind of what's interesting. I will be making another video about this, like going back on it closer to when the season's over, probably in like September, and we'll see how it is. I'll do an episode on the All-Star break to just talk about that. And I hope you guys have an amazing 4th of July. I love you guys so much. Bye.